All right, so on the Money Show today, let's talk about insurance. And we all know insurance is a very important aspect of your entire financial plan. In fact, this is having the right kind of insurance and getting yourself covered by the right kind of life insurance, health insurance for yourself and your family is the first step towards your financial planning, because that's the right kind of investment you need to do in insurance. But today, we are going to focus specifically on women insurance, the importance of women being covered with the right kind of life insurance and the right kind of health insurance also. Let's discuss more on this. Today I have with me Mahavir Chopra, founder .org. Mahavir, hi, good evening and welcome to the Money Show. A very important topic which a lot of times goes missed, because people, it doesn't click on your mind that women can have separate set of insurance policies or insurance needs. Because, Mahavir, when we talk about investments are not gender based, okay? We have the same kind of investment instruments for men as well as women when it comes to designing their portfolio. But let's talk about having specific insurance needs for women. As we all know, as much as we want the penetration and women to get more awareness of having the right kind of insurance, there's still a long way to go on that path as well. But so far, what's the status? What has been the kind of insurance needs which have gone missed, and maybe we need to cover that now?
Right. So whenever you do a dip test with people and you talk to people who are, you try to understand from a women perspective, what we have seen is that the awareness amongst women, although it is increasing, it is quite low. Like most of them depend upon the male family member. It could be either the father or the husband to take care of all the needs, financial needs, including the insurance needs. So it's a great topic that you've picked, Kavita, and it is an important thing to definitely talk about. Largely, the insurance plans that are covering women specific issues or conditions would be focused around two aspects. One is basically around complications that could arise at the time of around reproduction, basically. So it could be, let's say, now there are policies which cover assisted termination of pregnancy. They cover pregnancy care. There are policies which basically cover even surrogacy as a treatment. So there is a lot of focus that has come through some policies where reproductive treatments, whether it is termination or whether it is basically assisted, reproduction, is now covered under a specific women-based policies that have been introduced in the last couple of years. So that's one aspect of it. Most of these policies would have certain waiting periods, and there would be certain terms and conditions, specifically limits also in the policy. So that's something that women, when they are buying the policy, should take care of those things. And hence, but they are policies that are worth considering specifically because these are things that otherwise were not covered under regular health insurance. Like for example, there is a policy which also covers women are not given health insurance when they are already pregnant, right? Now there is a policy that is available where for a certain number of months of the early pregnancy, a woman who is pregnant can get covered, and for any kind of pregnancy related complications for her own self and the child that is born. So these are some things that have been brought into picture, and it's an excellent welcome move that the insurance industry has done in terms of solving for women related illnesses or women related conditions or treatments that are required.
I want to understand the kind of coverage we just spoke about, or the kind of needs we just spoke about. Are they covered as a rider, as a health insurance component which is offered in a comprehensive insurance plan, or a comprehensive policy like we spoke about surrogacy, IVF, and the other maternity covers? So are these in a form of a comprehensive plan, or can we add it as riders on your existing health insurance policy?
Right. So some plans do have these as riders, but many plans have been created which are specific for women policies, which are called women care policies or women health insurance policies. In these policies, these covers are inbuilt. So they are comprehensive covers that have been built which solve for the health insurance requirement, regular health insurance requirement for a family, but also additionally would cover complications or health conditions or treatments that specifically women require that way. So there are both options available, but the ones that I mentioned, specifically surrogacy, assisted reproduction, or let's say miscarriage, all these are covered under specific policies also.
And the cost, since you have all these things also covered, will go up how much?
So typically, yes, the cost would be higher, but they're not significantly higher. They would be in the range of around, because there are waiting periods in the policy. It takes care of initial issues or concerns that an insurer could have in terms of claims. So taking that into consideration, the premiums are not very high. They would be in the range of 10% or 15% higher than a regular policy.
These coverages or features also come as a part of waiting period in a comprehensive health plan. Is that also the case?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
So these coverage or the features that we just discussed also come as a part of your health insurance plan and have a waiting period to it.
So all these coverages that I mentioned, the miscarriage cover or the cover for, let's say, termination or basically assisted reproduction, like I mentioned, these would have waiting periods of between 2 to 3 years. So that basically when a person is taking this policy, the idea behind that is typically that you are not already, planning something like that. The idea of insurance is to cover for unknowns, and hence waiting periods basically helps create a balance and ensures that insurance is affordable for everybody.
Specific women cover or rider which is coming on top of your mind, which you can recommend to our viewers also.
Right. So typically now we are seeing a lot of cases where postnatal care for kids, basically when a child is born, is becoming very common. Earlier, it was not that common. At least that is what I see. Obviously, it's not out of data that I'm seeing. It's more about my experience. So covers where these kind of treatments are covered, which are basically maternity complications and treatments which are like assisted reproduction. Sorry, you should basically consider them specifically. Women should consider them when they are considering policies today, because that is now available, and the costs of treatment for, let's say, postnatal care and the cost of treatment for IVF kind of treatments is significantly high. So taking these into consideration as options when you are basically trying to cover yourself is a great thing that you should do, so that financial risks around these treatments or these conditions can be taken care of.
So Mavi, all kind of health insurance policy, general insurance policies are providing you with these kind of covers, or there are specific names that one can go for?
So the policy that covers this in a lot of at length is basically a policy from Star called Star Women Care, which basically covers this at length. Whatever I mentioned, a large part of that is very thoughtfully covered in this policy, where they've tried to cover all the complications that are there specifically related to women. So it's called, a policy is called Star Women Care. That is one of the policies that anybody who's looking at covering these risks can look at.
So we've spoken a lot about health insurance, but then let's also focus on life insurance. Any specific guideline for women to go life insurance policies? A lot of time we get questions where the male member of the family asks that I have a term plan, my wife is a homemaker, does she really need to have a health insurance policy? How should one go about it?
Right. So it's a very valid question, because although there is no earning that is getting added, but there is a lot of cost that is basically getting saved when obviously a family works together. Let's say even a woman managing the home is also taking care of a lot of stuff that otherwise would have to be taken care by the other family members in the house. So that is something that can be covered through taking a joint life policy, or basically taking a policy where the spouse is covered in a separate policy also. There should be a proper assessment done in terms of what is the financial loss that can get occurred, let's say, in case of the demise of the person who's managing the home. It could be a male or a female, and then basis that coverage could be decided. It's good to use a financial advisor at that end and not do a reactive calculation or just go by what is being sold to you.
All right. Now, when we talk about life insurances, I think it's very important. I mean, this question is a general question, whether it is a male insurance policy holder or women. We really need to understand a clear-cut life insurance plan, the difference between insurance plan and investment insurance plan. And
Right.
if I have to attach a women-oriented need to that, how would you explain it?
No, so basically you're talking about savings plans. Are you talking about?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think savings, like you had started off saying, that savings and financial planning as such, there is no major difference between how a male and a female should decide on taking covers for each of them. So from that perspective, I don't see any major difference in terms of how you should look at personal finance and then hence taking covers or taking a savings or investment product. I don't know whether I've answered your question rightly.
That's one thing that in general also investors need to understand. But then with that, thank you so much, Mahavir, for being a part of this show and explaining all the nitty-gritties on women insurance needs to our viewers today. Thank you so much. We'll slip into a quick break, and post that we'll be taking up our viewers' questions and helping them design their financial portfolio. But just in case you're watching our show and want to WhatsApp your query, you can quickly do that on our WhatsApp number 865-797-4571, and that's a WhatsApp number. The Money Show at etnow.tv is our email ID. See you after this break.